something in common, and that something in common is called universal grammar. Now, can we have access to that universal grammar? Can we try and understand how to acquire language? Because when we look at a young child understands language very quickly. The way he or she picks up language, it is something of great wonder to me and surprise that a child who is barely 2 year, 3 year, or 4 year old picks up language which is so complex. I mean, today, if I tell someone to teach set theory, it will not be very easy to teach and understand set theory. But a 4 year old child and a 5 year old child, the way he or she picks up language, which is far more complex than set theory, is a thing to be wondered at. So, in my view, it is not something very easy to understand, and no, and that is why we have to spend some time in wondering about it, learning about it, and we also must look at the interdisciplinarity of any language. So that is what I am trying to say. And when we look at language, what are we really trying to do? We are trying to understand reality. We are trying to understand what really it means. When we say a sentence like John loves Mary, or we say Mary loves John, meaning perhaps be the same, but the order is different. And both sentences convey slightly different meaning. Mary loves John, John loves Mary. If we turn it around, John, again the sentence becomes different or meaning becomes different. So we must look at these things because they convey a subtle nuance which must not be forgotten. Next slide, please. And the language that we speak, it is not just one language, any language. And through language, because language is the carrier of thought, language is also carrier of feelings. And not only thoughts and feelings, through thoughts and feelings, language is a carrier of tradition. Language is a carrier of the meaning that the place holds. So that is why language in some sense defines the smell of the place, the culture of the place. And if we wish to understand any place, if we wish to understand, say, Bangladesh or West Bengal, we must look at the language. If we wish to understand any culture, any geography, we must look at the language because language will indicate what really that culture, that geography stands for. Next slide, please. I'll give you a few examples. Next slide, please. Yes, so as you can see, I have given two examples. One, of course, must be very familiar to all of you. The poem of William Wordsworth, "A Slumber Did My Spirit See." I'm not going to read the poem, you can read it, it's there on this slide. But it gives us a sense as to the romantic poetry of Great Britain or England. And it tells us how a typical Englishman thinks and feels. So it gives us a sense of what really England is all about. And then I would like you to read the poem, which is by Rainer Maria Rilke of Germany. Look at the poem. Look at the pathos and look at the sublimity of emotions. See what he is talking about. He is talking about transcending limits of ordinary individual. And that is something that Germany has been standing for a long period, barring an exception of the Hitler period. So Germany is also called a sublime culture. And Rainer Maria Rilke is a good embodiment. His works are an excellent embodiment of the essence of Germany. I'm not going to read the poem, you can read it for yourself. Next slide, please. Another two examples, one of Italy and one of France. Now you see, look at the Italy. Look at the poem by Dante Alighieri for Italy. Now, Italy, we know what it is. Today, we look at Italy as a tourist place. But if we try to grasp the essence of Italian culture, we will have to go through the poetry of someone like Dante. And you know Paradise Lost and three parts of Paradise Lost, which is Purgatorio, Inferno, and one more, Paradiso. Paradiso, Purgatorio, and Inferno. Inferno, of course, is the best, and this line is taken from Inferno, which tells us that Italian culture has probably lost its way. Racine, who is equivalent to Shakespeare in French literature, look at what he says. This is a line from one of his most famous poem called Phèdre. And the poem is, it is no longer a passion hidden in my heart, it is Venus herself fastened to her prey. So look at the way French culture grasps the idea of love and how the idea of love is important in French literature. So these are some examples which represent or which indicate towards what these cultures stand for. Today, we are going to look at the language and the language that indicates towards the culture of this region, which is East Bengal and West Bengal or Bangladesh and West Bengal of India. But also, as a larger issue, we will look at language as an agency that defines the identity of any culture, any country. Next slide, please. So this is what we are talking about, how poetry, we have seen the poetry and how poetry, because poetry incites emotions, and those emotions sometimes are very strong, they are related to the soil of the place we belong to, and that gradually go on to define our identity, and then identity starts shaping our politics, and that politics gets derived from identity, state, and power. So these are the complexities that are involved when we discuss language, and we are going to have this conversation which revolves around these issues with having International Mother Language Day as the backdrop. So next slide, please. We are going to have this conversation with His Excellency Mr. Andalib Elias, and with him we will have our faculty members, Dr. Devolina Chatterjee and Dr. Shayan Palit. A brief introduction. Mr. Andalib Elias has experience of more than 2 decades in the diplomatic service of Bangladesh, working mostly in multilateral stations. His area of expertise includes trade and development, climate change issues, migration, LDC graduation, and South-South cooperation. He was chair of LDC Group in Geneva and New York and worked as chief negotiator of Group 77 on economic and financial issues on several occasions. He also had the opportunity to closely observe the often complicated mechanism of European Union during his 3-year tenure at Bangladesh Embassy in Brussels. Another interesting thing that I discovered was that Mr. Andalib Elias is a student of economics, and he has completed his master's and bachelor's both in economics from University of Dhaka. So sir, today we have found 2 of our faculty members who are also students of economics to have conversation with you. So sir, I request you to take your place on stage and we will start the conversation. Thank you sir very much. Please.
আপনার জন্য তারার খোঁজে চ্যালেঞ্জ কন্টেস্ট, গান, নাচ কিংবা আবৃত্তি tararkhoje.com ওয়েবসাইটে গিয়ে সাবমিট করুন আপনার এন্ট্রি এবং পেয়ে যান সুযোগ আমার সাথে টিভিতে আসা। আইসিএসএ ব্যাংক, মনের মতো জীবন, মনের মতো ব্যক্তিত্ব।
So as I said, we have Dr. Devolina Chatterjee who would be speaking to Mr. Andalib Elias. So Dr. Devolina Chatterjee is, of course, as I said, is a student of economics. She also teaches economics to our students. But beyond economics, her interests are varied. She is very passionate about culture and language, and she is also interested in public policy, which is at the intersection of all of these. So I am sure we are going to hear some interesting questions and even more interesting answers during this conversation. So thank you very much, Dr. Devolina, for agreeing to host this event. You're most welcome. May we have a round of applause, please? Dr. Shayan Palit, who would also be anchoring this session. Dr. Shayan Palit is, as I said, is a graduate in economics, and beyond economics, he's also an intellectual, and in Bengali tradition, he's a leftist intellectual, and he's known for his deep interest in subjects which are related to art, culture, literature, and beyond. So we would be witnessing his brilliance in this field of language, because he is particularly passionate about the language and how that language unfolds in the culture of West Bengal, and even more importantly, Bangladesh. Dr. Shen Palit, thank you very much for agreeing to host this session. Most welcome. So let me not stand between you and the Adda that we have promised you. So over to you, Dr. Shen Palit and Dr. Devolina Chatterjee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very warm welcome, sir. I feel privileged to share the stage with Mr. Andalib Elias and to be hosting this with Dr. Shan Palit. Welcome all dignitaries. Welcome family, faculty members who are like family, and dear students, Registrar Sir. We have all gathered here on this August occasion to commemorate Language Martyrs Day, as we call as Bhasha Adda in Bengali, to renew our commitment towards our linguistic heritage, to pay homage to our preservation of linguistic heritage. So interestingly, Bangladesh, which is very tightly knit over their love for a single mother language, which is Bangla, India is a very antithetical example where we represent hundreds of languages and hundreds of dialects also. So let us dedicate this day to pay homage to the rich tapestry of several mother languages that form the bedrock of International Mother Language Day. Since our audience belongs to several ethnic and language backgrounds from all across India, we shall continue this conversation predominantly in English, maybe sometimes interjected by Bengali. So, sir, over to you.
Good morning, sir. Actually, my first question is, what does International Mother Language Day signify to you personally, and in the context of Bangladesh's rich linguistic and cultural heritage?
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning to everyone. My profound thanks to Dr. Abhishek Kumar for inviting me to this place, and it's always a not only great honor but great pleasure interacting with people, particularly with young minds, and to get their feedback on this issue of languages. Sir, as you mentioned about this issue of International Mother Language Day, just to give you a slight background of it, you know, in 1952, we fought for the recognition of Bangla as one of the state languages of Pakistan. And this is the most important part here, one of the state languages. In 1952, it was declared. In 1948, actually, it was announced that Urdu would be the only state language of Pakistan. And we immediately, strongly protested. For 4 years, we struggled with it. In 52, some valiant people laid down their lives to ensure that we get Bangla as one of the state languages. Why am I repeating this issue of one of the again and again? Because when we were moving for making Bangla as a state language, at that time, 52% of Pakistan population spoke in Bangla. So as the majority community, we could easily have demanded that Bangla should be the only state language of Pakistan, but we never did that. Because always people of Bengal, Bengali, they always respect other cultures, they always respect other languages. If you look at this particular language of Bangla, it has got so many words from all over the languages, all the languages that we have amalgamated into Bangla. That shows our not only tolerance, our willingness to embrace upon the other languages as well. That's why this issue of International Mother Language is very important for us. And in 1999, Bangladesh moved in UNESCO in Paris to announce this day 21st of February as the International Mother Language Day. And it has always been very, very important for us that all the languages of the world, all the mother tongues of the world should get, I would say, equal importance. And that's why we have a government organization in Bangladesh that is called the International Mother Language Institute. The role of that institute, the mandate of that institute is only to research about the different mother tongues in the world, not only Bangladesh, in the world, and to come up with suggestions about how those languages should be preserved, should be promoted. That's why not only for me, I think for all Bengalis from Bangladesh, this concept of international mother language is extremely important and very dear to our heart.
Thank you, sir. As you mentioned, reflecting on the historical backdrop of 1952, we honor the courage and sacrifice of those who fought for their language rights. Amidst this turbulence of post-partition politics, the people of East Pakistan stood united in their resistance against the imposition of Urdu as the sole official language. And the tragic events of February 21st, I think, was marked by the loss of lives in the pursuit of linguistic equality. This stand as a testament to the unwavering spirit of language as a premise for martyrdom. So,
in this context, we actually want to know, very much eager to want to know, that do you have any first-hand accounts relating this incident at the 52? Because we are born later, all of us, from if you listen something from your parents or grandparents or relative or friends, etc., then please share with us.
Well, of course, it cannot be first-hand, as you mentioned, but yes, it's one of the most discussed upon incidents or events in Bangladesh, and also in West Bengal, I would say. I can give you one. There was one story in Andalib Adda I think on 21st of February. It mentions about the life of one individual lady who was a Hindu lady, Hindu Bengali lady from West Bengal, and she fell in love with a Muslim Bengali from East Bengal, and then they got married against the will of the two families. And that lady moved to East Bengal, to Dhaka, then East Pakistan. And when this movement started for establishing Bangla as one of the state languages, that lady, she got deeply involved in the movement, and she was arrested. And then her husband gave her pressure, who was a Bengali from East Bengal. He gave her pressure to say, let's say, to apologize for this movement to the state, and then she could be released from jail. She denied to do that. She declined to do that. And then her husband divorced her. Even then, she did not budge. She was in the prison for quite some time. Then later she was released, and we were seeing that she died after some time. So this is the passion that was prevalent at that time among the people. My grandfather, because my father was only 9 years old at that time, but at that time my grandfather was he was 40, he was 41 years old, and a politician. He was a school teacher and at the same time a national level politician. And I heard from my grandfather, who was at the time a member of the Legislative Assembly of East Pakistan, how they strongly took it up in the Legislative Assembly. Interestingly, where, of course, Bengalis were the majority in East Pakistan Legislative Assembly, but how even after being the majority, they were not given the floor, they were not given the opportunity to press a bill for making Bangla a state language, how they would be threatened by the state machinery, how my grandfather was barred from attending the session of the Legislative Assembly. So there was this systemic discrimination and systemic oppression by the state mechanism against a population which was the majority at that time. So this is my experience from my family, and you will find the same experience in almost all the families of Bangladesh. And as we always say that 52 was the first step of 71, because that happened. I mean, then we realized we have a separate identity, we have a separate characteristic, we have a separate culture, we have everything is separate. So 52 was, 21st February was that day that awakened us, sort of.
As a stepping stone.
Sir, we've heard the morbid side of the story, but how does Bangladesh celebrate 21st February? Because it is also equally well cherished in Bengal, Assam, and some parts of other parts of
Tripura.
India, Tripura also. So how does Bangladesh appreciate or cherish this day? As
If you talk about celebration, it's one of the biggest events in our life. In Bangladesh, we celebrate two events in a very big manner. You know, we love festivities. Interestingly, both of these two events are non-religious events. One is 21st of February, the other one is 14th April, which is the Bangla New Year for us, Poila Boishakh. These two are the biggest two events in our festivity calendar. 21st February is one where even the small children are involved. I can share my experience. When I was in school, you know, 7 years, 8 years old, there's this tradition that at the dot of midnight, I mean, we have this exception in our government system that for any national event like the Victory Day event, the Independence Day event, the head of the state and the head of the government, followed by others, they lay wreath at the mausoleums or at the different places on the dot of sunrise. We have made one exception for 21st February. We lay the wreath starting at 12 midnight. So what happens is immediately after, when the evening starts, 20th February evening starts, and everyone, all the small children with their fathers and grandfathers and everyone, we start preparing the wreaths ourselves. Nowadays, you know, you have all the shops, but that's not the tradition. The tradition is you have to prepare the wreath yourself. So in all the schools, you will see that in the afternoon they are going around plucking most of the leaves because not many flowers are available. So our wreaths are more green than other color. Plucking the leaves and then bending the bamboo sticks and preparing the round wreaths. So that we do till late evening, right? 10, 11. Everyone is there, out there. All the families, everyone is having even dinner, they are busy somewhere else. After that, around midnight, everyone starts moving towards the central Shohid Minar in Dhaka and the central Shohid Minars in other cities and the capital and the small
so
cities.
is that what Prabhat Feri is called? The
Exactly,
morning
that is the Prabhat Feri. But Prabhat Feri actually starts
after.
before that. Prabhat Feri starts at around 3 or 4 in the morning. Okay, so we start moving. Bare feet. Everyone is barefoot. The roads are not very clean, but it's mandatory that you have to be barefoot. And singing that immortal song. We have this song, Amar Bhai Rakte Rangano 21 February, Ami Ki Bhulite Pari. Everyone sings that song. Maybe you have horrible teams, doesn't matter. You have to sing that song. So that gives you the spirit. And then depending on where you live, it may take 2 to 4 hours to walk from your home, from your school, from your local club. The procession starts. It may take 2 to 4 hours. You reach the central Shohid Minar at around dawn, approximately. 12 o'clock, midnight, President, Prime Minister, they have laid down rules. And then it had started. So when I was kid, we used to reach there around, I would say, 5:30, 6 o'clock. starting from our home around 4:30, 4:30. It would take 1 to 1.5 hours. We go there, we lay the wreath, stand there for a few seconds, then we leave. And there are so many people. I mean, I think almost every single person in Dhaka goes to the Shahid Ground to place a flower, to place a wreath. And there are so many wreaths that roughly every, not even 5 minutes, every 3-4 minutes, the law enforcement agencies, they have to clear the area because there are no more spaces for laying the wreaths. So every 3-4 minutes, it's being emptied. That's how we celebrate the day. The day before, the students of Dhaka University's Art Fine Arts Institute, we call it colloquially Art College. The students of Art College, they start painting the roads with Alpona. That's one of our we're fascinated about that. So from the afternoon before 21st, 20th afternoon, the entire area of Central Shahid Minar, the entire, let's say 1 or 2 square kilometer area are blocked off by the police. The roads are emptied, and then they start with the Alponas on the road. And that's also part of the celebration, to look at the Alponas while you are stepping and to appreciate that. I mean, that's how we say that by stepping on the Alpona, we are becoming part of that. So that's a typical Bengali culture, typical East Bengal culture, that you have to step on that. I mean, you cannot avoid that. You step on that so that you embrace that Alpona. And that's how you embrace the culture of. That's
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Sir, now beyond Bangladesh and beyond West Bengal, this phenomena has now reached globally, it reverberates globally. And this phenomena has been the initiative of Bangladesh primarily, and then UNESCO, as you mentioned, in 99, they established International Mother Language Day. So how did that process take place? How did country-specific phenomena become a global phenomena, or UNESCO lapped it up as a something they wanted to propagate globally?
That was, of course,
Another thing is, are there any role played by Indian diplomats of Bangladesh?
Well, yes. Regarding how it became internationalized, that was not a very easy task. There were two expatriate Bangladeshis living in Canada. It was their idea first. They thought that this day should be recognized and celebrated all over the world. So then they submitted a petition to the United Nations for declaring 21st of February as an International Mother Language Day. So that was a commendable job by these two young Bangladeshis who were living in Canada at the time. But in UN system, it's a member state driven process. So then they realized that it should be done in a more formal way. So they approached us, which was very kind of them. They approached the government of Bangladesh that this is our idea, these two young Bangladeshis. Then Bangladesh government loved this idea, and then we started pushing it in the United Nations. The Bangladesh mission, Bangladesh embassy in Paris, that is also accredited to UNESCO. So the Bangladeshi diplomats who were at that time posted in Paris, guided by the headquarters in Dhaka, Foreign Ministry, they started pursuing with UN member states. But because the process is, when you propose a new date, because UN has many dates, when you propose a new date, it must have attraction. So it doesn't say that there has to be 25 signatories or 21 signatories and something like that. But it must be a substantive number. Then it goes for voting, and that takes a long time. And if significant majority, not equal, significant majority is in favor, then it becomes a new day. You can imagine that it was not easy because there was opposition from a particular country. That let's not get into the past. let's not, I mean, what has happened 50 years ago. Let's not discuss these things anymore. Let's move forward. You should not hold any grudges. You know what I mean. So there was this strong opposition from one particular country,
We can understand that, not naming it.
and that country was then supported by some other like-minded countries. Let's put it this way. So that was very difficult for us. So we had to negotiate with those particular countries across the table for day in, day out, months in, months out, um, trying to convince them that it's not against any particular country, it's not a political issue, it's a cultural issue. And culture should always bind us together. So after months of negotiations, finally, that particular country and its like-minded countries, they gave their consent. Then we tabled the resolution requesting UNESCO to make it mark this day as International Mother Language Day, and we are very happy that it was adopted by consensus. Every single country voted in favor of this day. So yes, that was a diplomatic success for us, I would say. For Bangladesh Foreign Service officers, it was a proud moment for us.
That's the story
Absolutely.
of being in event, going to local to
Local to global, yes. This is a moment to just acknowledge the sponsorship provided by ICICI Bank, Tarar Khoje. It is a talent hunt show for anyone above 50 years of age. So thank you for partnering with us. The program is also supported by digital media partner, the Telegraph ABP Digital, and radio partner 91.9 Friends FM. So the audio visual, please.
আপনার বয়স কি 50+? আইসিআইসিআই ব্যাংক নিয়ে আসছে আপনার জন্য তারার খোঁজে ট্যালেন্ট কন্টেস্ট, গান, নাচ।
Can we have the audio visual, please?
আপনার বয়স কি 50+? আইসিআইসিআই ব্যাংক নিয়ে আসছে আপনার জন্য তারার খোঁজে ট্যালেন্ট কন্টেস্ট, গান, নাচ কিংবা আবৃত্তি। tararkhoje.com ওয়েবসাইটে গিয়ে সাবমিট করুন আপনার এন্ট্রি এবং পেয়ে যান সুযোগ আমার সাথে টিভিতে আসা। আইসিআইসিআই ব্যাংক, মনের মতো জীবন, মনের মতো ব্যক্তিত্ব।
Sir, I want to call a student to sing a few lines on this particular day. Can we have you on stage? Yes. Just a couple of lines.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So the song which I'm going to sing today, it's a very beautiful song. Ami Banglaয় গান গাই। আমি চেষ্টা করব কি কিছু লাইন আমি গাওয়ার চেষ্টা করব। So yeah, here it goes. আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি আমার বুঝিতে চিরদিন, আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি বাংলায় গান গাই, আমি আমার আমিকে চিরদিন, আমি বাংলায় গান গাই। Thank you so much.
Just as a context, I want to mention that Sureli is a Bengali who has lived all across India. So she can sing in Bengali, but she doesn't speak much good in Bengali, or she cannot write or read. We have many Bengali students who have lived all across India, and they can probably say, speak, but not able to write, or they haven't got a formal education in their language. And the same is true for a lot of other students also. So we'll take it up later on. Let's.
That is one of the linguistic problem of India. And it is in this topic, actually, I would want to share that we saw several linguistic movements in India and across the globe. And in India, we witnessed many movements revolving around the mother tongue of various ethnic people like Nepali, Meitei or Manipuri, Konkani, Dogri, etc. And afterwards, some of the problem have been settled by amendment of constitution and included all its in the schedule, in the several amendment of constitutions. But we saw a very tough, troublesome movement, bloody movement, you can say. One in the southern part of the India, Dravidian movement, mainly in the then state of Madras, now we called it Tamil Nadu. And the anti-Hindi imposition agitations have been ongoing intermittently of the southern state of Tamil Nadu. The worst incident occurred in January 1965 when a full-scale violent riot broke out in Madurai, a South Indian town, and eventually spread all over the state. The riot resulted in the deaths of about 80 people officially. To calm the situation, the then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri assured that English would continue as the official language as long as the non-Hindi states wanted. And you know, it still continues. And most importantly, the last but not least, we have seen the bloodshed for the Bengali language in this part of the border also, in Assam. The Bengali language movement of Borak Valley, Silchar, was a protest against the decision of the government of Assam to make Assamese the only sole official language of the state, even though the most Borak Valley residents speak Bengali. About 80% of the Borak Valley's residents are ethnic Bengalis, consisting of both Hindus and Muslims. The main incident took place on 19th May 1961 at Silchar railway station, in which 11 Bengalis were killed by Assam police. After the incident, the Assam government had to withdraw the circular and Bengali was ultimately given official status in the 3 districts of Borak Valley. I just want to share a poem written in Bengali, remembering both the struggle for 21 May and 19 May and 21 February. It's written in Bengali, and for other people, please show the translations in the background. 19 May আর 21 February, written by কবি অমিতাভ দাশগুপ্ত। বুকের রক্ত মুখে তুলে যারা মরে, ওপারে ঢাকায়, ওপারের শিলচরে, তারা ভালোবাসে বাংলা ভাষার জুড়ি 19 মে আর 21 ফেব্রুয়ারি। সিঁদুর কুড়িয়ে নেওয়া যায় এক আলো, প্রাণের পুণ্যে হয়ে ওঠে জমকালো, সে আলোয় দেয় মারের সাগর পাড়ি 19 মে আর 21 ফেব্রুয়ারি। সে আলো টলে না মৃত্যুর কালো ঝড়ে, তর্জনী তুলে জেগে থাকে ঘরে ঘরে, দুলিয়ে গলায় তাজা বুলেটের মালা, পার হয়ে শত শ্মশান ও কারবালা, হাজার মুখের মিছিলে দিয়েছে পাড়ি 19 মে আর 21 ফেব্রুয়ারি। Sir, thank you very much. And if we growing from domestic world to the world beyond, we witness several linguistic movements have taken place or are still brewing in various corners of the world. Just to name a few, Afrikaans language movement in South Africa, Norwegian language conflict in Norway, the Gaelic revival in Ireland, the Nepal Bhasha movement by Newar speakers in Nepal. And in another neighboring state, Pakistan, Punjabi language movement is a linguistic movement mainly in Punjab province of Pakistan, aimed at reviving the Punjabi language, art and culture. The Punjabi people constitute the largest ethnic group in Pakistan, though Urdu is the national language. It's the same problem here also. And nowadays, we witness the language movement is brewing in Pakistan, that is the Baloch problem. Obviously, there are some political, the geopolitics involved into it, but I think it's mainly a language problem originally. So in this background, do you have any experience witnessing this kind of struggle? If yes, please, if you can share something. And if not, just your opinion or insight about these problems and how to get resolved this problem.
I'll not say struggle, but I have seen the tussle, and I've also seen the other side, where everyone embraces the different cultures and languages. Um, you see, you gave some examples of different language tensions, if I can use the word. End of the day, it depends on us. That's what I have always been trying to say. It depends on people. It depends on the individuals. When you give example of some places in India or outside, maybe the state machinery tried to impose a particular language, a particular culture. But state machinery is not something very arbitrary, not something that we cannot touch, that we cannot imagine. No, it's us. State machinery is people. Every single element in the state machinery is a person. So if that person is aware, is respectful of the different cultures, then these things do not happen. Now, take one step further. How is that state machinery elected, selected? By the people. So, does that mean that the majority wants that particular culture or language, then they're imposing their language or culture? That's very important here. As I repeatedly said, that Bangla or Bangali, they never use the weight of the majority. It's very important that you never become the majority tyrant. Tyranny of majority is a very dangerous thing. Then if tyranny of majority is there, then the smaller ethnicities, the minority languages, minority cultures, they become extinct. So when every single person, be he a member of the majority community or the minority community, if he or she is respectful of everyone, then all the languages, all the cultures definitely will survive. In Europe, that can be a good example in Europe, in I would say Central and West Europe mostly. I have served for a long time, 2 stations, so 6+ years in Western Europe. Not UK or Ireland, in the continental Western Europe. There I see that, let's say every 60, 70 kilometers, the geography changes, the culture changes, the language changes. But still then, they are having very strong economies, very strong one state. I served in Switzerland. In Switzerland, it's a very small country, very small, tiny country, landlocked. But they have 4 official languages. A population of, I think, around, I've forgotten, I think it was 70 million at that time. So for that, no, it's a much less than actually, not 7 million. They have 4 languages. Everyone is respecting the other language. In school, I saw, in fact, one of my colleagues, one of my local staff, local colleagues' son, he was in grade 8, at that time when I was there. And I know that he knew 5 languages at the time, other than Bangla and English. He knew, so basically he knew 7 languages. In Europe, you will see that all the kids, they know easily 3, 4, 5 languages. I took my wife to a hospital, and the receptionist, when she saw that we are foreigners, she was very happy. She said, okay, which language would you like me to interact with you? And she gave me 6 options, and English was not there. Among those options, 6 options, English was not there. So she was fluent in six languages. So when you become fluent in 6 languages, that makes you a very liberal person. That's what I'm trying to say. That makes you friends with a lot of people in different languages. That's extremely important. Now let me switch to the other side, the tussle. I have served in Belgium. There's serious tussle between Dutch. There's a particular accent of Dutch. They call it Flemish, which is basically Dutch in a slightly different accent, and the French-speaking people. So there is so much tussle between these two. But again, they have sorted it out. They are not trying to impose any language over the other, but they are trying to ensure that both Flemish and French get equal importance. Now, how do you do that? How do you ensure that they get equal importance? They have found the formula. Let's say there is a speech by for example, let's say the King of Belgium is delivering a speech. Now, he must be very neutral. He cannot speak in French or Flemish. So he starts, maybe the first paragraph is in French, second paragraph is in Flemish. That means French is getting priority, right? He cannot do that. So if he speaks first paragraph in French, second and third he speaks in Flemish, then fourth maybe again French. So he keeps on switching in such a manner that you cannot say afterwards that when he gave priority to French or priority to Flemish. Same thing for the public transport even. If you go to Brussels, you will see that all the buses that are running from one point to other, they have the display of the place where it's going and the stops, the destinations. It's constantly randomly changing from French to Flemish without following any particular pattern. If you follow a pattern, then you can say, well, this language is getting priority or this language is getting second place. So that's how Belgians are solving it, which is very difficult, I must say. But they are trying to break this pattern of giving importance to any particular language. That's how it bonds them. You have to find your way. You have to find, according to your culture, how you can ensure that all the languages get priority. Because without that, you cannot keep more than one community together. That's very important. You have to keep more than one community together, then you have to give importance to everyone.
A nice example.
I have a
About your example, I'm sorry to say, this careness, this caring attitude, what you have said about the Belgian authority or monarch, it is not very much frequently seen in this part of the world, mainly in the South Asia. It's our bad luck, please.
No, there's a famous quote that goes like that. You speak English. This is primarily for an English speaking friend that I heard it from. It's a British friend that I had, and I told him this. You speak English because that is the language you know. I speak English with you because that is the only language you know. So we are not the same. So it is somewhere around that. So moving from this, UNESCO's this year topic or theme around Mother Language Day is intergeneration, multilingual education as a pillar of intergenerational learning. And that definitely echoes the importance of linguistic plurality in our economic systems. So, for instance, as I was telling you that Army Institute is also an epitome of confluence of so many cultural and languages. And I want to call a few students and ask what their view is on their mother language. Can I have Kaviti on mic, please? Kaviti, can you tell me, he is a Telugu. Uh, Kaviti, have you learned Telugu in your school education?
Yes, ma'am. My school.
And what does your language mean to you?
My language means some mother tongue, something I learned it from my mother's lab. Everything I speak, even before even communicating with you now, in my background, my mother tongue is going on in my mind. So it
Can
is
you
some,
speak something in your language?
yes, ma'am. Uh, can you suggest, you want to suggest something?
You want to sing a song? Anything? Recite.
Okay, ma'am, okay. నిజంగా నేనేనా ఇలా నీ జతలో ఉన్నా ఇదంతా ప్రేమేనా ఎన్నో వింతలు చూస్తున్నా ఎదలో ఎవరో చేరి అన్నీ చూస్తున్నారా వెనుకే వెనుకే ఉంటూ నీపై నన్నే తోస్తున్నారా హరే 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 రామ మరి ఇలా ఎలా వచ్చేసింది దీన ఎంతో హుషారుగా ఉన్నదలో ప్రేమ.
Thank you, Kavi. That sounds so nice. Aparna,
He is in
is there?
his ethnic attire. Very good.
Aparna, you are a Malayali, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you use the language apart from, I mean, I'm sure you talk in Malayali at home with your mother.
Yes.
Otherwise, do you use the language anywhere else?
Yes, ma'am, I do. When I move to my native place, sometimes for a vacation or holiday, I have to speak with my relatives or to see a hoarding or to read a hoarding or to move from other places for basically the transportation also. For buses and all, we usually have to read the boards in Malayalam. So I usually do it.
So can you say a few lines in Malayali?
Okay, I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of our college for this International Mother Language Day. So, namaskaram. My name is sorry, so sorry. In the പേര് അപർണ. I'm so sorry. നമസ്കാരം. എൻ്റെ പേര് അപർണ പി. ഞാൻ ആലപ്പുഴ ജില്ലയിൽ നിന്നാണ് വരുന്നത്. കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്ന്. ഇന്ന് അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര മാതൃഭാഷാ ദിവസത്തിൽ ഞാൻ ഏവരെയും ആർമി ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് ഓഫ് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കൊൽക്കത്തയിൽ നിന്നും വിളിക്കുന്നു.
Thank you. Devang is there? Devang, can you say the same thing in Odia? You are from Odisha, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So something similar in Odia?
So in Odia it goes like Namaskara. ମୋର ନାଁ ଦେବାଂପତି and ମୁଁ आपको ସମ୍ମାନକୁ ଏଠି आर्मी इंस्टीट्यूट रे फॉर इंटरनेशनल मदर्स डे ମୁଁ आप सबको बेसी I'm sorry.
That's it. Sit down, sit down. We have students from different dialects also, like Hindi variation of Kumayani, we have Himachali, and we have some faculty members whose roots go back to Bangladesh also, somewhere. Like Dr. Malini Mujumdar is from Odisha, is her roots, and Dr. Orange Chattopadhyay is from Kodipur. So, sir, you please go on with the questions.
It's a tough question, actually. Right now, we want to know from you what is your opinion about the current state of the Bengali language? I'm specifically saying the background is in West Bengal, we have seen a lot of problem to face for the language of Bengali, because majority of the mother tongue of the majority of the people here are Bengali, but still Bengali doesn't have that kind of respect or usage in the commercial ground, in the legislature, in the judiciary, and of course in the higher education level. Frankly speaking, English dominates. And from the Bangladesh, I think, or we have seen in the newspaper articles and the social media, things are not very much different. Although it's a monolithic country by language, and India have a different kind of problem for that. Bangladesh doesn't have, but still, the
Language of business,
language of business, language of communication,
language of the law.
medium of instruction in the higher study, and of course I have to mention in the judiciary, the Bengali is still not used at all. So I think there is a common problem for that, particularly for the Bengali language, and maybe some in the behind some economics, some economy, real-term economy, the big money, the big MNCs, all this may be related. I just want to know your viewpoint.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. So before I get into the answer of this question, I would just like to flag, because previously regarding the other, when I gave the example of my experience in Switzerland and Belgium, then you were saying that unfortunately you do not see that that in this part of the world, but I'm very hopeful about that. And that's what I love engaging with the young people, because they will do the corrections that's needed there. Regarding regarding the usage of Bangla in different areas, you yourself pointed out as your final sentence, it's all about economics. I, being a student of economics, I strongly believe that. For everything in this world, you can explain it with economics. I strongly believe that. I'm a big believer in that. You see, Bangla is still now very strongly, it's a language of love in Bangladesh. But regarding, okay, let me go one by one. Regarding judiciary, our lower court, which is up to the session and sessions court of the districts, it's completely in Bangla. For the higher court, the Supreme Court, it was in English. Now we have started, the honorable justices, they have started delivering their verdicts in Bangla. But the problem is, usually these verdicts in our part of the world, particularly in the Indian subcontinent, you see we have the same laws, the common laws, British common law. And it's very common to use the verdicts of other countries as case studies and precedents. That plays a strong role. If you look at any verdict of Bangladesh Supreme Court, let's say the Appellate Division, you see in the verdicts they refer to many cases. And in those cases you will find quite a few number of Indian cases as well, or Pakistan cases, Sri Lankan cases are there. So if those verdicts are not in English, then those cannot be used as precedents, as references. So now what we have started doing is we have started delivering the verdicts in Bangla and then translating those into English, which is not easy when you talk about the legal implications and legal things. And then there's a footnote that if there is any dispute between the two versions, Bangla version will prevail. That automatically weakens the English version for using in other countries. So that is one of the reasons that we are a bit struggling with delivering verdicts in Bangla in the higher court, in the Supreme Court. Regarding education, it's a challenge. Definitely it's a challenge. There are not many books available in Bangla. When I was a student in the university, I'll absolutely confess here, I used to answer in English. But there is always this option that you can answer in Bangla as well. You can answer in either Bangla or in English. But since almost, I would say 90, at that time at least, 90% of the books were available in English. So I being the lazy guy, I didn't take that effort to translate my notes into Bangla and then appearing in Bangla. And then I had to suffer for that, to be honest. When I appeared for the civil service exams, all the questions are in Bangla, and you have to write in Bangla in civil service. You can answer in English, but that's not very easy because it's a very nuanced Bangla for every question there. So when in civil service exam, when I sat for the foreign service exam, one of my chosen subjects for it was economics, and all the questions were in Bangla, and I was quite baffled about the jargons, the terms.
I can imagine.
I was quite baffled, and then I had to really struggle to understand those, and then I could answer in English, that was allowed, but they would not provide me with an English version of the question. I asked them, is there an English version? No, there's no English version. Same with mathematics. I had mathematics in one of the subjects. I was used to these English terms of triangles and circles and the geometrical terms. When I saw those in Bangla, it took me some time to understand. So this problem is there, it's still there. It's still there, but we're trying to find a solution. Intention is very important. If you have the intention, you can definitely find a solution. I would say, I don't think we lack the intention. Sorry, you don't agree with me, but I will say that we are really trying hard. In university level nowadays, I checked with my university, there are many more books available in Bangla now, at least in Dhaka, written by or translated by teachers of the economics department. And recently I was talking to a couple of young students of economics from Dhaka University, and they were saying, yes, there are these options now, much more options for them if they want to study in Bangla, these options there. But of course, internationally speaking, the international language is English. You have to accept that. So if a student completely studies in Bangla, after he passes, if he wants to pursue his further career, further studies, PhD in some other country, then he'll be really struggling. Then he'll have to again, you have to go for this IELTS or these kind of exams, TOEFL. So you have to have English as well for that, I think.
So this is the formal education part, but don't you think there's a essence of traditional knowledge that is passed on through generations? Like he was mentioning, I learned it from my mother's lab. So there's a certain amount of knowledge that is passed through generations from mother to the daughter or the son. So somewhere that can also be enabled somewhere in the system.
Yes, of course. I mean, that's why when we're having tea outside, I was mentioning to you that, well, Bangla is, we are fortunate and unfortunate that almost everyone speaks in Bangla in Bangladesh. That gives us the advantage that for daily communications outside my district, I do not have to learn another language. That's a plus point, that's an advantage. That's a disadvantage as well. The disadvantage is I do not get the opportunity to learn another language. I do not need to learn another language. My example, I served, one of my stations was in Manila, the Philippines. When I served in Geneva, I couldn't, at that time, I couldn't survive a single day outside on the road without learning French. If you do not know French, you're going to starve. Simply, you're going to starve. Because you go to a supermarket and you do not know where to find anything. You have to ask someone, and he doesn't speak a single word of English. What you can do is you can try to, check the shelves, and every brand is mentioned in French. So you don't know whether you're buying baking powder, baking soda. These kind of confusions are there. So you have to learn that language. You're forced to learn that language, which is very good for you. You know one additional language. But when I served in Manila, everyone speaks English there. Every single person. I mean, I went to remote areas driving my car. I was horribly lost in a village, in a mountain. Anyone I ask for directions, he can speak English. So what was the disadvantage? I did not learn a single word of Filipino. That's a great problem for me. That I can speak a couple of languages, but not the Filipino, even though I was there for 3 years. So that's why in our country now we have started promoting this thing that 2% of our population speak a language that is not Bangla. 2% of our ethnic minorities, they have many languages. So we have now started imposing this thing that every child must learn his or her mother tongue first. He or she will start his or her schooling with her mother language or his mother language. So we have accordingly prepared books for them. We have published books which are distributed free of cost. That will continue for 2-3 years. So once he or she knows the grammar of that language, knowing the grammar is very important, then he or she switches to Bangla. At the same time, it's kept on because then he or she knows how to speak in that language.
Language spoken at home and the language spoken in school can be interactive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Then we introduce English, because English has to be there at the day. So it was not there before. We started, I will say 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, to give importance to the mother tongue. So yes, mother tongue is very important, because that will have the lasting impression on you. When the wonderful people were speaking in their own mother tongues, it's very important that they think in that language, and then it continues. My elder daughter, she used to speak Bangla, of course. Then at a very young age, she started going to a French medium school, very young age, when she was less than 3, actually 2.5. She started her schooling in French. And then we realized that she used to think in French and then reply to us in Bangla. And French grammar and Bangla grammar is quite different. Bangla grammar is more towards English, I would say. French grammar is absolutely different. The use of adjectives is completely different, the sentence structure. So that's why her replies they would sound very, very bizarre to us. আমি মিষ্টি খেতে চাই, এটা কেউ পরে নিয়ে আসতো, আমি চাই খেতে মিষ্টি. That's more of French grammar style. But after, and then we got concerned that no, she has to think in Bangla. So then we could somehow correct it after, we started giving her more time. My mother, who lives with us, she used to speak to her all the time and get her into a conversation engagement. Then it got corrected. So we have to ensure that the mother tongue is something that one thinks in. That's important.
Lots of serious discussions we have. Please recite a poem for us,
Okay.
if possible.
This is in Bengali. বাংলার ধনুকের ছিলায় ছিলায় যত টান, তীরের ফলায় তবু বিষ নয় লালনের গান, সে গানে বিদ্ধ বুকে রক্তে অশ্রু ছল ছল, এ যদি আমার দেশ নয় তো কার দেশ বলো। স্মৃতিতে এখনো শুনি বঙ্গবন্ধুর আহ্বান, পুবের আকাশ ছোঁয়ে শান্তিতে ভোরের আজান, 21-এর হাত ধরে চেতনায় হয় হাতে খড়ি, বাংলা দেখলে আমি এখনো বাংলাদেশ পড়ি, মুক্তিযুদ্ধ ডাকে আগামীর দিকে হেঁটে চলো, এ যদি আমার দেশ না হয় তো কার দেশ বলো।
Happy listening this before. It's actually a song written by Kobir Shumon, and for our students, I can translate it in English. In the land of Bengal, where the bowstring resonates, amidst the arrow's fruitfulness, there's no venom, just melodies of Lalun's song. In that song, pierced hearts bleat, tears shimmer. If this isn't my country, then what land should I claim? In memory, still resonates Bangabandhu's call, where the eastern sky touches the dawn of peace's prayer, holding the consciousness in the grip of the 21st, with the hand of the 21st, I stand upright. When I see Bengal, I still read Bangladesh. Marching towards the future echoes the call of the liberation war. If this isn't my country, then what land should I claim? Ask some questions, lighter questions.
Sir, on the lighter note, what is your favorite book in Bangla or author?
Very interesting question. Well, my favorite author is Shukumar, right? The nonsense verses. I'm obsessed with that, and of course Rabindranath. I mean, if you want to ask me to pick one book, that has to be Shukumar Rai. If you ask me to pick two books, then Shukumar Rai and
That means obviously your favorite author, not only the author, the favorite poet is also the same. And about music, what is your favorite choices? What types of song or music you generally listen?
I'm a Rabindra fanatic. As simple as that. My day starts with Rabindranath, my day ends with Rabindranath. Absolutely. I mean, I wake up and the moment I step out of the bed, I start with music of Rabindranath. That awakens my wife as well. She's not very happy about it, but that's how it is. And when I go to sleep in the night, it's always there with me.
Don't you listen any contemporary music?
Not really, sir. As I said, I'm obsessed with Rabindranath, I would say. But yes, contemporary music I also listen to a lot.
There are a lot of experimentation going on in the Bengali music for the last 2-3 decades,
Yes.
in both parts.
Yes, of course, Kabir Suman is one of my favorites. I'm a diehard fan of Anjan Dotto. I mean, I can recite every single song of him with lyrics and everything. It's completely. And I told him that sir, any song you refer to, I can recite it from the first word to the last word. In Bangladesh, we're having some very good singers as well.
Sir, do you listen to Orno?
I do listen to Orno. I'm a fan of Orno, of course. We have a big band in Bangladesh that's called Shirunamhin.
Yes.
But I was forced to listen to them because the band leader of Shirunamhin is a childhood friend of mine. So he forced me to listen to his songs, and then I fell in love with that. Other than that, yes, I personally, I'm interested in different languages. So I hear and see a lot of different language things. Things I say because, let's say, that's why my family loves about me, that I watch a lot of serials and movies and everything. I mean, I regularly watch this Nimfuler Madhu and all those crazy serials in Z Bangla and Star Jalsha. I regularly watch those. I love those things. And Jagat Thatri, yes, Jagat Thatri is one of them. At the same time, I watch a lot of Hebrew serials. I don't understand a single thing of it, but I love watching Hebrew serials. There are subtitles, but I try not to see the subtitles. I try to understand what's happening there.
You know Hebrew?
No, I do not. Not a single word of it. But that's the fun I have when I'm trying to understand what's happening. And okay, this is the villain. No, sorry, this is a hero. I mean, okay, he's a nobody actually. That's what amuses me. I watch a lot of Arabic serials without understanding a single word. I'm a Korean serial buff. I love Korean series. I love K-pop. And Korean music I hear a lot without understanding, but they have got beautiful melody and beats.
That thing, I think this is a very much common trait among you and our students.
Yeah, Korean K-pop, I love K-pop. I watch Korean serial. I watch Japanese serials. I see Iranian movies in most cases without understanding, but it's very interesting. So I watch a lot of different language things, and that's one of my favorite pastimes. Uh, Trying to understand what's happening. And I feel very happy when finally I can understand, well, this is the thing.
This is the OTT you are talking about, where
Everywhere. When I'm posted outside, I go to a lot of movies.
because OTT has opened up a lot of
Yes.
options. Even we can watch a French series with the subtitles. We can actually watch anything
You should
with the
switch off the
subtitles
subtitle.
and then hear it.
Then it's fun. Then it's really fun, and it's kind of trying to solve a riddle. That's what gives me amusement.
Okay, before going to the movies, just want to share one of my favorite singer, of contemporary singer is Andalib. I'm very much fond of her voice and the expressions.
We are actually obsessed with a lot of singers from Bangladesh. Shayon, Anusha Nadir, Joler Gan.
Choler Gan, yes.
And,
They're very much
Fiona-
popular here also.
Yes, yes.
And in our college days, there was and obviously James,
James, even
Ayub
in our
Bachu.
college days,
Guru.
Yes, absolutely.
And our Bengali rock has very much influenced by these people also. But
Yes.
apart from
even Bollywood
Kobita
has
and
made
Anjan,
a lot of.
the very much influenced at that time made by the LRB and the
I was absolutely sorry. I would say
Ayub Bachu.
West Bengal is more of pop in that sense, whereas in our side the genre is more of rock, blues, and metallic. I would say soft metallic.
They were very,
Sir,
I think you were a film buff, I think. And
I watch a
you
lot
have
of
saved
films.
you have saved that lot, seeing the Iranian film. Among them, who is your favorite filmmaker,
I
director?
would not pick up anyone in that sense, but overall the Iranian genre, I love that. I mean, very powerful movies they have.
And there is Makmal Baf,
Very powerful, all of them.
Kiarostami.
Yes. I would also say Japanese movies are also very interesting. Those are I see a lot of movies, and as I said, I try not to see in OTT. You can of course switch off the subtitle, but when you're at a movie theater, then it's not always possible. There is a subtitle. But when I'm posted in different stations, I see their movies, which doesn't have the subtitle. So, you see, one language that I'm very weak. I'm not strong in any language, but here in India, I find that I'm not strong in Hindi at all. I do not understand Hindi. So, what I do is again, I go to a lot of movie theaters, watch Hindi movies without subtitle. I ask when I buy the ticket, I ask at the counter. They can tell you if there is subtitle or not. So I ask them at the time, does it have the English subtitle or not? In most cases, they actually, yes, it has. I said, no, in which show it will not have the subtitle? Then they can say, okay, the show at 3 o'clock doesn't have a subtitle. It happens I go to the cineplexes where I live. So then I go at that time to watch the movie. Of course, the Hindi movies that I watch is not in the subtitle because you just see the action. So that's how it works.
So the last question of the day, very frivolous question, but chingdi or ilish? Hilsa or prawns?
Of course, Hilsa. There's no
As
competition.
predictable.
It's not a question at all.
Not a question at all. It's Hilsa, and Hilsa. When I was at one point of time, I was private secretary. We call it staff officer. I was staff officer to the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh at one point of time. I was young, and she was from Chandpur, which is the home district of Hilsa. Chandpur is the Hilsa district. So when I used to go there with her at her constituency, the DM, the district magistrate, he would keep a boat ready for me. The condition was when I reached Chandpur, then the boat would start for the river, the mid river. They'd catch the hilsa there, bring it back, and fry it for me there, then and there. And I had the record during Ramzan, we have this fasting month of Ramzan. So you cannot eat or drink anything from for a long time, yeah, starting before sunrise up to sunset. So I visited Chandpur at that time, at one point of time. I've been there several times with the minister. So they were concerned that, well, I would not be able to eat hilsa for one whole day. So they arranged hilsa starting from sunset till sunrise. Whole night there was hilsa being fried and cooked for me. And I would not stop before, let's say, 4 or 5 whole fishes. I would not eat anything else. I would not take any rice because that would take unnecessary space in the stomach. I would go for hilsa. And that's not very uncommon in Bangladesh. I mean, that's our obsession with that fish. Thank you.
You have spent a couple of years already in Kolkata. Before that,
I have not been to Kolkata before. I have been to Delhi many times. I did a training there, a long training. I have been to Mumbai, but not here.
That means this is the first time
Yes.
you're being in here. So, what is your impression in the background of the Dhaka? What is the comparison?
It's very interesting. Well, first of all, when we get posted to Kolkata, we are very happy. You speak in your language, you earn in foreign currency. I mean, what better could something be? I get dollars and I can speak in Bangla. Yes, I would love to come to Kolkata. Anyone would love to come to Kolkata from Bangladesh Foreign Service. Language is the same. That's a huge advantage. Although we have a slightly different dialect, right? Whenever we speak in Bangla, people can really understand that we are from Bangladesh. We're not from this part. Food is similar but not the same. So that's an interesting change. Poshilmanga Manush, people of West Bengal, they pour sugar. We do not pour sugar. They use posto, we use shorshe. They use more spices, we use more chili. So those are the differences. And that makes life more interesting for me here, to try the street food. We would never have, we are a fish-eating nation. Bangladeshis, we are obsessed with fish. But we would never have fish fry as a snack. Never, never ever. No fish kabirati. No. Fish is only for lunch and dinner. For snacks, you have shingara, you have different dal puri, piyaju, all those things, all those veg things. But fish is only for lunch and dinner. So that's one of the interesting changes that I find here. That in the afternoon, I go out and I see that people are eating fish fry as a snack, as a 5 o'clock snack. We can imagine
Fish fry and chicken
it's
cutlet.
unbelievable. I mean, no one in Bangladesh will believe me if I tell you the story. That in Kolkata, they have fish fry at 5 o'clock. Fish fry is for 9 o'clock dinner. That's the standard thing. And again, we do not have the fish fry that we have here in this form. The fish finger thing, that's not probably because of the
Colonial hangover. It carries the British legacy.
Which we do not have. That's why the food is different. So from that angle, life here is interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we close today's program, let us reflect on the profound impact of language on our identities as our shared humanity. Let us honor the memory of our language martyrs by reaffirming our dedication to preserving linguistic diversity for generations to come. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us in Bhasha
Thank you,
Adda,
sir.
commemorating these significant occasions. Together, let us strive to ensure that every mother language is heard, cherished, and celebrated. And I would like to call upon stage Principal Sir for the vote of thanks.
I'll just take 1 second here. Thank you
Yes,
so much, everyone. Just one point, Principal Sir knows about it. I told you the other day also. Every 40 days, one language dies in this world. And it's on all of you, all of us, to ensure that no language becomes extinct. One language dying means one culture dying, one civilization dying, and we cannot let that happen. So that's my message, that please ensure that your language lives and others' language live as well. Thank you, everyone.
I think some questions.
স্যার একটি ছোট্ট অনুরোধ আছে, আমি বাংলাতেই বলছি। একটি ছোট্ট অনুরোধ আছে, যদি আপনার কাছ থেকে কয়েক লাইন একটি আবৃত্তি আমরা শুনতে পাই।
Oh, very nice.
শুনতে গেলাম পোস্ত গিয়ে তোমার নাকি মেয়ের বিয়ে, গঙ্গারামকে পাত্র পেলে, জানতে চাও সে কেমন ছেলে? মন্দ নয়, সে পাত্র ভালো, রং যদিও বেজায় কালো, তার উপরে মুখের গড়ন অনেকটা ঠিক পেঁচার মতন। বিদ্যে বুদ্ধি বলছি মশায়, ধন্যী ছেলের অধ্যাবসায়। 19টি বার ম্যাট্রিকে সে ঘায়েল হয়ে থামলো শেষে। ভাইগুলো মানুষ তো নয়, ভাইগুলো তার, একটা পাগল একটা গোয়ার, আরেকটি সে তৈরি ছেলে, জাল করে নোট গেছেন জেলে। কনিষ্ঠটি তবলা বাজায়, যাত্রা দলে 5 টাকা পায়। গঙ্গারাম তো কেবল ভোগে পিলের জ্বর আর পাণ্ডু রোগে, কিন্তু তারা উচ্চ ঘর, কংসরাজের বংশধর। শ্যামলাহিড়ি বনগ্রামের কি যেন হয় গঙ্গারামের। যা হোক, এবার পাত্র পেলে, মন্দ কি আর এমন ছেলে। থ্যাংক ইউ।
একটা পাওনা। That's for, we have to thankful to Dr. Pratik Basu. Or
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us such a wonderful afternoon and ending with such a brilliant recitation. I call upon our Registrar, Colonel M.K. Verma, to present a medallion on our behalf to our His Excellency Mr. Andalib Elias. I would also like to call upon Mr. Shubhojit Bagchi on stage. Mr. Shubhojit Bagchi is a journalist with currently with Pratham Alo. He has been a journalist with BBC and many other renowned media houses. We are immensely grateful to him to help us connect with the High Commission of Bangladesh. And on behalf of Army Institute of Management, we present a small token of appreciation to Mr. Shubhojit Bagchi. We request Colonel Verma to
सामने चलिए। हो गया।
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
क्लोज में जाके बोलना था एकदम।
I must take this opportunity to thank our anchors, Dr. Shayan Palit and Dr. Devolina Chatterjee, for conducting this chat show in such a brilliant manner. The kind of perspectives and the way you integrated students' performances with with your own performance, students' performance, and finally performance of our guest also. This was an amazingly well conducted chat session. Thank you very much. I must also, I would particularly like to mention a few names. The first name that comes to my mind is Mr. Rajiv Karmakar. He is the one who broached this idea that we must have an event that celebrates International Mother Language Day. And it was he who suggested that we must reach out to High Commission of Bangladesh. Mr. Rajiv Karmakar is our colleague in the academic office. Then we have the entire library team, the faculty team, and our registrar himself, who very enthusiastically participated and helped the whole institute in conducting this event. Our chairman, he sends us his best wishes. That our chairman is Major General from Fort William Eastern Command. So he sends us his best wishes for this event. I would also like to thank our sponsors, particularly ICICI Bank, who have stood with us during this event, who have helped us in, and we hope that our students and many of us will encourage our senior citizens to participate in the contest that you have just launched. Um, I would like to thank the media, particularly Friends FM and Telegraph Education. Both of them have said that they would carry the details of this event in their respective platforms. And our non-teaching staff, Mr. Subodh Banerjee, Mr. Sagar Dalal, Mr. Uttam Kar, Shubhrajyoti, Rohit, and so many others who have helped us in organizing this event successfully. And finally, list of students, they have been very enthusiastic towards participating in this event and holding this event and making it successful. Some names that I would like to take: Anushka, who has designed this beautiful poster, and then Saptarshi, Andesha, Jyoti, Saloni, Aparna, Pooja, Alisha, Parit, Saurabh, Saikat, Anand, Sureli, Aritro, and Rohan Dalal. So thank you very much for organizing this event. Thank you, sir. And I invite all our guests for tea in our seminar hall 2 in Manekshaw Hall on the second floor. I request the faculty members and all the guests to join us for the high tea. And students, thank you very much. I hope you are benefited and some new directions of thought have opened up for your studies and for your life. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
गान बजा लाइट जला लाइट जला लाइट जला और इधर सारा है सर ना ना बाकी खाना